So we got another piece of the puzzle that came in from Summit Racing. This is the Eaton Detroit True Track Limited Slip Differential, the 912A588 Dana 30, because the rear is a Dana 30 based carrier, and the 588, this is the high preload model, so this is going to be good for the rear. But yeah, I got this for a really good deal. Someone has a couple sales going on right now where I think you get like, I think I got like $40 or $50 off it because it was over, you know, $400. So it's basically $550 shipped for the whole thing, which I think is a great deal. And I'm going to be using my custom 27 spline companion flanges for this because you can't use the stock 26 spline axles. So it's opening this thing up. I did already open it up and kind of looked at it a little bit, but I include this manual. I haven't really looked at that yet, but yeah, I did open it up and start playing around with it a little bit before I actually made this video. Let's see if I can get this one handed nice. So it's a really nice unit. Seems very high quality. There's a lot of research on this before I pulled the trigger. You know, there's a lot of other options like for the rear, like the gripper, the quaif, but I decided to go with this because it was just, it was the best option for the price, really. I mean, 550 shipped, you can't beat that. And it's not like it's cheaper because it's lower quality. It's only cheaper because the Dana 30 carrier is used in so many different vehicles, like Jeeps. I think it's used in a few Toyotas. That this is just way more mass produced than any of the other, you know, quaif differentials. So that's why it's cheaper. Not necessarily because it's worse or anything, but it's definitely very high quality material. You can see the only cast parts really look like these plates right here. Everything else looks like it's machined from solid. Just get some nice picture of this. So it's a really nice high quality unit, and it is a true limited slip differential. It's helical or helical type limited slip differential. So it's the same type as the quaif and everything. See the 27 teeth splines in there, and this actually goes all the way through because it's not an open differential, so it doesn't have to have those shafts for the spider gears. So yeah, I'm going to head over to the garage, and I want to start playing with some of my 27 spline stuff, adapter flanges, to make sure it all fits up and works with this differential, and make sure the C-clips clip in and everything, and keep those you know, flanges held in so the CVs don't be popping out. So let's get over to the garage and start playing around with this thing. And once again, 912A588, and this will drop right into the all-wheel drive rear end, but you just have to use 27 spline adapter flanges. You can't use the stock axles. So yeah, I've been playing around with these companion flanges a lot at my home garage. You can see how many different revisions I've gone through. It's actually quite crazy. But my latest version, I've just been playing with kind of a cut down version because it's easier and quicker to 3D print this and a lot faster. So let me pull the diff out real quick and I'll basically show you how we got the C-clip snap ring and everything working so that we won't have any problems with the CV getting, you know, pulled out of the differential. And then I also 3D printed some fake bearings I designed real quick that just fit in the races so that I can actually put that diff in there, because I don't have a tool yet to pull the old bearings off that, and I'm going to replace the bearings anyway, and I don't have the new bearings, so just for the time being I want to play around with just some of the 3D printed versions of the bearings. So let me pull this out, show you how this clips in and everything, and then we can throw that in and look at some of that. So yeah, this is the old 26 spline version. You can see this is the 27 spline. Obviously it doesn't fit. I did have a 27 spline. This is a G80, by the way. I did have a 27 spline G80 that I was using to mock this stuff up for a while that a friend let me borrow. So shout out to Scott if you're watching. Really appreciate it. He's local to me. But I wanted to test with the stock 27 spline G80 before I pulled the trigger on this, just to make sure, you know, my ideas would work. But we can see we got our clip on there, and we're basically gonna line that up, give that a press down, and we'll hear that snap ring clip in. So you heard that. Now you can see we got a little bit of play, and that's locked in. So you know that CV is not going to be coming out. And then to get it out, we'll just see. I don't know if I can do this one. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Probably. Just pop it out real quick. Well, I'll get that popped out, and then we can put on these fake bearings and throw it in the housing and see how everything fits up. So yeah, I got my fake bearings pressed on. But you can see the race fits over it real nicely. I mean, it does spin a little bit. But yeah, that's why 3D printing is so cool, because I didn't have any bearings to put on this to start mocking it up in the diff housing. So I just said, well, I'll just take a couple measurements, 3D print my own fake bearings, and you know, I'll be able to get the race on, at least get it in the housing. So I'm not going to be able to get this in the housing with one hand, so I'm going to throw that in the housing real quick, and we'll take a look at how things fit. So I got the diff in with the fake bearings. I mean, it does spin a little bit, but I don't have the ringer on it, so we're not going to mess with spinning it or anything, especially since, you know, they're not actually real bearings. But you can see there's a little gap here because I don't actually have the shim on it. So there is actually a shim that has to be transferred over when I put the new bearings on from that differential into this one. And we'll still need to check, you know, the backlash and the gear tooth contact pattern and all that. But for the time being, it's okay if we don't have that, because we're kind of just checking fitment over here. So let's try and get this a little more slightly centered, maybe. There. So here you can kind of see what we're looking at. So now I can basically still mock this up and check how the seal is and everything without actually having to put the new bearings on this yet, because I don't have them yet. I still need to get some tools to pull those off so I can get the shim and everything to put on this one when I get the new bearings. So I'm gonna keep playing around with this. This does actually click in. Well, let's see if we can get this to go in. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. There we go. Yeah, so you heard that click in. So yeah, I still need to make a couple adjustments with this portion, because there's actually this little dust cover that goes on there. So I need to actually move the position of this dust cover back a couple millimeters, because the thing that I noticed between this differential and the stock 27 spline G80, not that one, but the other 27 spline G80, is that the engagement for the clip is actually a little bit deeper in this version. So that kind of moves everything a little bit this way. So I have to make a couple modifications here, but that shouldn't matter for if people, you know, if someone were to want to use this in a stock 27 spline G80, I don't know why you would want to, because it would be better to just drop the 500 and get a real differential, not that G80 crap. But it shouldn't matter, because the since this is deeper, it actually, the seal area and everything actually is deeper. So if we were to use a G80 27 spline, it would just push everything over a couple of millimeters this way, and everything would still seal up and everything. And this dust cover would just be out a couple millimeters more, which doesn't really matter where this is, as long as it's, you know, semi close to the edge. So I'll have to print that latest version, and we can see how it fits with the dust cover and everything. The dust cover I was talking about, you can see it basically just presses down. If we were to look at it on like the actual flange, it basically presses down to like here. And when we push this in, you can see that it basically just covers up the seal so that no debris can, you know, damage the seal or have any dust or anything actually get in between the seal and the shaft it's trying to seal. So yeah, these 3D printed fake bearings were kind of really helpful for making sure that a lot of this is still good. I'm going to print out another version that'll basically be the best of both worlds, where it's going to work with all the aftermarket differentials and also you know, the stock 27 spline G80 that you can get at like the 1030, 31s, 41s, and I think 45s. So yeah, we'll get that printed out. We'll see how it fits, and hopefully we can get these up to manufacturing real soon. I found a company that's going to manufacture them for me, heat treat them, the whole 9 yards, for a really affordable price. So we're looking at around 4 weeks turnaround time, and then we can get this thing fully rebuilt in the meantime, get it all cleaned up. This thing is really, really dirty. You can just see how bad it is. So we'll get that cleaned up, power washed, painted with 415. This is aluminum, so we'll get that painted with the engine enamel, and we can start getting this hopefully put together within the next month, because this is really the only piece that's going to be holding us up for the next month with getting the whole rear into the car. But we can start mocking stuff up on the T-5R and get all those brackets welded and everything while we're waiting on those flanges to get manufactured. So I finished 3D printing the final version of the companion flange, and yeah, the new version came out really well. You can see we got the area for the cup to engage in, all the bolt holes, as well as this outer lip. The stock cup actually centers on here, but I decided to center it on the outside instead, because this doesn't seem that stable. And then we also have a different, I changed up the design a little bit. You can see before we had this big radius, and now we actually have 2 radiuses. So it actually helps clearance a lot when going into the diff. And we can see there's a little lip right there for this to seat onto. So that seats in real nice. And we got our clip and everything. And so we're gonna go ahead and put this into the differential and see how things fit up. And let's see if I can do this with one hand. Yeah. So we'll hear it click too. Make sure that C-clip engages. Heard the click there. And you can see by switching to this double radius design, we have a whole lot more clearance now between the flange and the diff. And there's actually a ton of seal area that extends into this, so it's sealing up perfectly. And we can also see we got our dust cover right there that fits up perfectly too. And this is moving back and forth a little bit just because I don't have actual bearings in it. Mine are a little undersized, but I was using a caliper to measure the distance from here to here to make sure everything actually lines up perfectly when it is going to be set up correctly. So let me pull this off real quick, and then I'll show you how this lines up. So we can see everything on the axle side fits up perfectly. This lip goes over the actual CV itself, and we got the bolt holes all lined up. We got 2 of them, so they all line up perfectly. It all seats perfectly, and I think this design is going to work out really well. So we're going to go ahead and get these off to the manufacturer very soon.